Hi, welcome to this week's Thrive in 5. This week we're going to talk about the client acquisition process. And the client acquisition process is something that you probably have already thought about as it relates to how it works in your CRM system, or if you use Salesforce. You've probably tried to figure this out. In other times it's called the sales funnel, but really it's the process by which you acquire a customer and the steps that they take before they become a client. And one of the things I want to do is make sure you're thinking appropriately about this, because if you're not thinking appropriately about this, you're likely going to get this process wrong. And it's really important that in this process you're engaging as much marketing automation and systems to ensure it helps you to get people to the client side of the funnel or the process, such that it takes less work on your part and more of your time and effort is spent on the appropriate places physically with your staff or with you, making sure this happens. So let's look at these stages. First stage is the prospect stage. At this stage, you don't actually have them in your funnel. They're not actually part of your system. They're just a prospect. They might be names. They might be a mailing list that you've purchased. They might actually be a industry niche that you're attempting to work in. Really, you have perceived them to have potential to be a client. They fit into a type of client that most likely will work with you, but they're really just potential. And it's your job in this stage of marketing to really work to attract attention, to build interest in who you are, and to make some kind of connection. And this can all be done in a marketing approach, because ultimately, these people have never agreed to be marketed to. You're just choosing them as a list, as a series of names, and you're going to market to them in a way to get them into becoming a lead. So a lead is actually someone who has agreed to work with you, has agreed to and given you permission to actually market to them. So they might have opted into a list. And by opting into your list, if they come from this prospect list, you presume them qualified based on the fact that they've gone from here to here. Now, the big piece that helps you get them from the prospect stage into the lead stage is right here, and I call it a lead magnet. The whole point about a lead magnet is as you market to your prospect list, you're using lead magnets to draw people from being a prospect to being someone that you can continue to market to. Because once they come over into this list and they've opted in, they've given you permission, your role here is to build relationship, is to establish trust, is to ensure that you are positioning yourself appropriately to get them to move to the next stage. So move a prospect into a lead based on a lead magnet. And that can be something simple like a report. It could be a webinar. It could be a live event. It could be any number of things that get people to raise their hand and say, yes, I'm interested. Now, when you have a lead, the goal is to build this relationship, to establish trust. And really in this whole role here, you're wanting to move them to the next stage, which is the opportunity stage. So in your Salesforce, or in your CRM system, you have a prospect, you have a lead, and you have an opportunity. Your job with a lead is to really, as you build these relationships, create offers that move them over to the opportunity side. And the opportunity side is someone who's requested a proposal, they've requested pricing, they've requested further information. How do you work? How do you do this? And it's really the process of how do we get them over this side in order to qualify them, in order to negotiate with them, and in order to nurture them. This I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on, because that's really the sales cycle, and you're really starting to get into sales cycle. The important thing is this whole side of the equation over here in your acquisition process is really about automation. It's about making your Salesforce system, your CRM system work for you. So once you have a list, how do you feed that list lead magnets? Once you have a lead, how do you build that relationship? How do you ensure that trust is developed such that you can place offers to them and they're predisposed to purchase from you, or at least request purchasing from you? That's this week's Thrive in 5. You now have the knowledge. Now go do something good with it. We'll catch up the next time.